Next UK general election has to take place no later than the 28th of January 2025. And I don't know about you, but I currently don't really have anyone I want to vote for. But Simon, what if you've got a vote going, if you're not using it, can you lend it to our party so we can kick the Tories out? Now, I totally get that sentiment, and I totally understand what you want from me with that one, and I want the Tories out as well. So we're on board with that one, but I've lent my vote to Labour in a previous election, and I don't regret doing it, but also I wouldn't do it again. My voting history goes like this, and before I say it, I know for a fact that the second I've told you who I voted for in the past, you will either swipe away because you'll immediately assume things about me, or you will keep watching and just will be in a little echo chamber of our own making. So let's see how this works out. I voted for the Green Party, and then I voted once for Labour, and then I moved up to Scotland and I voted once for SNP. But right now, if the general election was called today and they were like, tomorrow you've got to vote, right? Gun to my head, I just wouldn't vote. I literally have no point in voting because the parties I want to vote for are too small, and so I'm stuck with either Labour or the Tories. If you're watching this, if you're a politician and you're watching this going, how can I get Simon's vote? Or how can I get a vote from someone like Simon? Here's all I want, right? This is all I want from a politician, right? I want someone who answers a fucking question in a way that I can understand it. Okay? I understand why you don't. I understand you're more concerned about keeping your job than answering our questions. I get that. I completely understand the system is broken. But then maybe you tell me you're going to change the system. You tell me you're going to go with a different voting system than first past the post. You tell me that you're going to move it to proportional representation and actually try and do that. Or you tell me that you're going to change the internal system so that you can answer questions when you're asked them and not just go, well, actually, things are going really well. Things are actually really fucking good right now. Yeah. Well, not the question you asked, but if I show you this graph over here, which we made, that isn't biased, that shows you that we've done stuff, even though we haven't, no, don't do any fact checking. 2, I want someone who will explain to me what's happening. Like, just seriously, I personally am increasingly skeptical of a lot of news media outlets, right? Now, that doesn't mean I'm a conspiracy theorist. It doesn't mean I'm a nut job, right? I know I'm coming off like one right now. I'm not a nut job, and I know the more I say it, the more you think he's definitely a nut job. What I mean is, why can't you so the one thing I kind of liked about the pandemic, which I know is not a sentence that many people say right now, is that the Prime Minister, didn't like Boris for the record, but the Prime Minister came out almost every day and said, this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, here's an update. Right, now I don't need a daily update, right? A daily briefing is too much, right? But just like every now and then going, just FYI, here is an update. Here's how well it's going. Here's how bad it's going, and here's what we're going to do to fix it. Like, just that alone would be amazing. And before you say, oh, that can't be done, I'll show you it can be. Jeff Jackson, I've been following him on here for months now, right? Now, forget politics, forget any of that sort of stuff, right? This guy is clearly trying to become president at some point, and he's clearly working on building that trust in a base of people, a big base, by the way, by giving his followers and people that might not be following him who are just interested, a calm update on what is going on in the Senate, on what is going on in the House behind the scenes. He just sits there for maybe 3 to 5 minutes and explains things. And for somebody like me who wants to learn stuff, this is really helpful, and I can now trust him a lot more than I can trust any politician in my own country, because he's willing to sit down. I know it's scripted, by the way, it's always going to be scripted, but he's sitting there reading a script and saying, this is what's happening and why it's happening and what's going to happen if something doesn't. You get it, right? The third thing, which is kind of linked, or at least it's the other side of the coin, is I just want real transparency. Right, I want a politician who will say, right, just FYI, we wanted to achieve this, we didn't achieve this, and this is what we're going to do to achieve this. Not, which I guarantee Rishi will do when he gets to the election time and he's looking at his 5 policies and has achieved none of them, right? He'll go, we haven't done that, but actually, do you know what? It's not our fault though, because like, Ukraine, or, oh yeah, there's been a lot of boats, there's been a lot of small boats, and that's been in the way of stuff. Yeah, those people have got really in the way of us bringing down inflation, or whatever excuse he wants to use, right? I want someone to say, okay, we didn't bring down inflation because of these reasons, but we're going to own that we could have done more, we could have improved the situation, and here's what we've learned, and here's what we're going to do to implement that in the future, right? I don't understand why that's not possible. in any other job, in my job, if I do something wrong, I have to say to people, by the way, here's why it's gone wrong. Here's what I'm going to do to improve it. Here's why it's not going to happen in the future. Why can't you say the same thing? And if you do something wrong that's really bad, you go to jail. Those are the 4 things.